And this is the final chance for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is hovering over the $30,000 level mark, but failing to post that critical higher high. With a critical week coming up on the macroeconomic front, can we see Bitcoin move past 31,000, or are we likely to lose 30 and head back down to look for some more support? In this video, I'm going to break down all the key things that are coming out this week, how it could affect the Bitcoin price, what are the key levels to watch for, plus what I'm doing in this market. If you appreciate that, smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe. Links in the description to Bybit. Ijaz.uk/Bybit is where I personally trade, and you can get some amazing bonuses. Guys, look at this Bitcoin price action. Crazy volatile week. We were trying to break above this line here at 30,800, got violently rejected, managed to hold support around 30,000, which is this line here, and now we sit here at 30,500. What is going to happen? Everything is in the balance right now, and the main driver of what's going on is, of course, the news around this ETF. The only reason Bitcoin headed back towards 31,000 from around 25,000 was on news that BlackRock were going to launch their spot ETF and that they would be approved, right? The market just had gone ahead and assumed that it would get approved, and then the SEC came out saying it's inadequate. We covered that off as well a couple of days ago, and now you can see that Coinbase will be the surveillance partner for Fidelity. So what does this mean? Well, one of the key differences that the BlackRock ETF filing had, the spot ETF, was they said they would create an SSA, a surveilling share agreement. Okay, and for this, what the SEC rebutted was that you haven't shared which exchange you're going to do it with. So now what's happened is the ETFs are filed with either two parties, either the CBOE, okay, the CBOE here, or the Nasdaq. BlackRock's is with the Nasdaq. Now, what the CBOE have done is they've updated all of their ETF filings, which cover off Fidelity, WisdomTree, VanEck, ARK, Galaxy, these guys, a lot of these guys, and they've said that our SSA partner will be Coinbase. Coinbase accounts for a lot of the volume, it's a good exchange, very transparent, that's who we're going to use. Now, what does this mean? We don't know what BlackRock's going to do yet via the Nasdaq. We don't know if they're going to use Coinbase as well. But one thing we know is for sure, Coinbase was filed as the custody solution for the BlackRock ETF as well. So loads to play for. We need to see how this plays out. But this is all in the balance now. People are starting to get worried. Will it get approved? Will it not get approved? I gave my opinion on whether I think the BlackRock ETF is going to go through. I'll link that video up here for you guys to get caught up on there. I gave my opinion as soon as the news came out that SEC said it was inadequate. Now, that said, we have a really important week coming up. Right? We have the FOMC minutes on Wednesday. So straight away on Wednesday, you're going to get your FOMC minutes, and you're going to have a Fed official speaking, Fed Williams. Then on Thursday, you get another Fed official speaking called Logan, plus your jobs figure. Very important. This is a very heavy jobs week because on Friday, we end up with our non-farm payrolls, our very important non-farm payrolls coming out. And these are all going to dictate whether Jerome Powell is likely to do another rate hike or whether he could stop. And that's what the market is going to be focused on right now. A very important, critical week here on the macro front. And then when you look at Bitcoin, you can see Bitcoin, of course, is hovering here. But where's our momentum going to come from? If I show you this in another pattern, you can see this consolidating in a triangle here on the hourly. Now, we had a fake out to the upside, fake out to the downside when the SEC said the filing was inadequate. And now we're back in this range. And again, the question is going to be, can we show support and start breaking from the upside? If we can, great. Onwards, we can go towards our bullish targets, which we've spoken about, 37,000, and then from the big cup and handle pattern, 45,000. But the other side of the coin, which we have to be wary of, is are we likely to pull back? And the best way to look at this is to clear off all the little diagrams there, come to the 4-hourly chart and bring out the 4-hourly EMA ribbon. And if you look at this 4-hourly EMA ribbon, we are at a critical moment right now. We are moving into our EMA ribbon. Now, if we cannot hold this EMA ribbon here this week, and we start losing this EMA ribbon, it could be painful. So I'm going to be looking this week for a very important volume bounce from this EMA ribbon. That will need us to clear this line. We'll need to clear 30,800 and we'll need to clear past our 31,400. The longer we go without being able to get past this peak here, the worse it is. It's showing that Bitcoin is curling over. We don't want to curl over. If we do curl over, that then means we need support. And support comes in primarily once we lose 30K from 29K back to this green line, which is very, very important, this green line, right? If you look back at the historical price action, it acted as resistance, and therefore we need to turn it into support. Where was resistance here? Can we turn it into support and bounce from it here? That's what we're going to be asking. So that's really important. So if we do need to pull back, I'm looking at 29. Now, if you then want to zoom out a little bit more, you want to jump onto the daily chart. And on the daily chart, you can see that's our green line where we said 29. That will also then perfectly tie you into a retest of the EMA ribbon. You guys know I don't like to chase green candles. I don't like when there's a huge gap between the price action and the EMA ribbon. That always indicates to me that there should be a pullback soon. So it's perfectly healthy, in my opinion, for this price action to come down towards the EMA ribbon. 29,200 is the start of the EMA ribbon, going all the way in to 28,000. Does that mean we're guaranteed those prices? No, nothing is guaranteed when investing and trading. But I will be looking for a pullback. If I can get some nibbles in that range, starting to nibble from 29,200, nibbling more as we get to 29,000 support, and if we don't bounce, then I'll buy even heavier in this gap in the EMA ribbon. That'll be a nice place for me to be nibbling in. Do I think we're going to go any lower down to our next support as 27,700? Not yet. In order for that to happen, we'd have to get a sharp projection of the ETF. We have to say, nope, completely refuse, Gary Gensler attacking some more. That's what that will then require. But where we're at currently is that they've said it's inadequate. They said give us more details around the surveillance program, and it looks like from what we're seeing that the CBOE, who didn't file BlackRock's but filed everybody else's pretty much, they're saying we're going to use Coinbase. Now we want to hear who do NASDAQ say we're going to use for the BlackRock ETF submission. So loads to play for. Critically important macro week. Do not ignore what's going on in the macro elements as well. Let's check in on the dollar index as well, because remember, the dollar index is going to dictate where we're going this week. We need risk to rotate back on. If you want risk to rotate back on, what that primarily means is you need the dollar index to come break down from this pattern. Let's zoom out to the weekly. This is what we want from the dollar index, right? We want it to break down from this triangle and really spend a good couple of months here to down to the downside. The reason Bitcoin has done well since the turn of the year is because of this. Not many people are talking about it. The precursor to this was that in September, the dollar index peaked out. We monitored this as it came into its EMA ribbon. It lost its EMA ribbon. And that is what allowed Bitcoin and risk on assets to have a good rally. You saw the NASDAQ rally. You saw Bitcoin do really well. It's because the dollar index moved to the downside. Now, in order for the dollar index to go to the downside, we need to show that we're heading towards risk on, which is an easing of monetary policy. So we need to see the labor figures come intact, we need to see inflation data come intact, and that will allow the dollar index to move to the downside. That being said, last week we did see a green week here on dollar index. Let's also check in on Bitcoin just to give you a weekly summary. We are ultimately finishing this week here on Bitcoin flat, right? You can see here the candlestick will close just 12 hours. It is a flat week, nothing much to write home about. You can see last week was of course up 15.7%, and you can't complain. Right? Even though we had a lot of volatility the last few days with what the SEC were doing after this move into the EMA ribbon, powerful candle here to open up flat is good. What we now need to see is the rest of the battle. Break through this resistance here, keep your way moving to the upside, and what that will then enable you to do, guys, is you'll see this cup and handle pattern break out. Right? And when you can consolidate above this neckline, start posting some positive weeks, even if that means a couple of positive weeks, a couple of negative weeks, a couple of positive weeks, boom, then we head to our price target, right? So it's all to play for right now here in the market. I would not want to be out of this market right now. We are primed and ready to go, getting closer and closer to that Bitcoin halving. Let me know what you're doing in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go watch this video here on my biggest crypto loss and the lessons I learned. I'll also link up a video on how to trade. Go watch those, and I'll see you in the next one.